Okay, well, recently I was asked about what warm-up work I do before Kehrberg-Ostrasz training. So I should just give you a brief video with a bit of an explanation of what I do. Just bear in mind this is stuff that I've taken from various different sources that I find works for me. I'm not highly ranked at all. I haven't actually achieved anything in the sport, so take everything I tell you with a grain of salt. This works for me, won't necessarily work for you. There's a lot of videos out there with the Russian professionals showing what they do, showing their stretching and things like that, which is probably better, but since you asked for it, here we go. Now, I time my warm-up. It's usually 10 to 15 minutes. Most of the joint mobility work, which I start off with, is probably about 5 to 7 minutes. What I start with is just opening up the hips and the lower back, just big circles, trying to keep the legs as straight as possible. Partly, this is actually preparation for the rack, so I'd recommend keeping your stance as wide as you do for when you do it for jerks. So you just nice and wide circles, you go the other direction. I've got the timer going, so I actually watch it. We'll go for maybe 15 seconds in each direction. You can feel that in your lower back and in your hips. You can narrow your stance and really stick your hips out as you go to open up the hip flexors. I'm not particularly flexible, so I actually feel a fair bit of tightness when I do this. Next, you just work more around the hips, but you also start looking at the upper back as well. You can actually sink really low to do this, but you don't have to. Just remember to pivot your knees so that you don't overstrain them. But again, bottom line is, as long as you're comfortable, that's the main thing. So just do this maybe for about 30 seconds or so. You'll feel it starting to open up the upper back as well, which is really good. And then just start moving on the shoulders. It's a nice even stance and big circles. Try to open up your shoulders as much as possible. Change directions. The double arm circles I tend to do for about 20 seconds each. Then change to singles, go a bit faster for the singles, and I always try to make sure that you don't bring the arm across the body at all. Do them for about 10 seconds in each direction. This is really, really good for when you do your single arm work like snatch, single arm jerk and stuff. You go to the other arm. If you're anything like me, you'll probably find that one shoulder's a bit more mobile than the other. I'm not actually sure whether that's normal or not, but whether it's normal or not, if it does happen, it's something you just got to deal with. Okay, then this should be one of your best friends. One of my favourites here, something I started doing recently, is behind the head press. Obviously it weighs absolutely nothing, but I still find it helps to open up your shoulders a bit. You keep your hands as fairly narrow if you can. And you do what I call shoulder dislocates. I've been doing these for a while, I love them. And again, the more mobile your shoulders, the less your hands are going to have to move along the bars as you move it. finally, I like to try some overhead squats, which I'm really not very good at. Because you'll see the upper body comes forward as I go down. You see my balance in that right now. And then just do some nice deep body weight squats, trying to keep your body as straight as possible. And again, you see my balance really is pretty poor because my lower back muscles aren't that strong. You see there, my upper back is really still opens up the hips and it's kind of nice, but you just kind of move a bit and then push your hips out as well. Again, this is something you'll see that I'm not really very good at. Then you want to work on your forearms and your elbows. So this is an odd one, it looks kind of funny, but it's really good for waking up your elbows and your wrists. Just want to let your wrists hang really limp. Just let everything open up. Just kind of roll your wrists a bit. Go in each direction. This is going to help with your insertion as well. Just generally getting all the joints moving. You're going to feel better for it. And as I said, these are a lot of much better lifters than I am. Then you start with your head, nice slow shoulder rotations. Yeah, there's a lot of better lifters than I who probably can give you much better advice. So it's specific on mobility work for your warm-up and stuff. It's going to make you a bit dizzy when you get used to it. And it feels really nice because it does, I find personally, it opens up my neck, my traps. Especially for snatch. And if you haven't got your pull timing down pat, which I don't really want to be working on it, your traps can really take quite a beating. So that's all the joint mobility stuff I do. And I'm going to show you. Sorry, I'm just going to get out of frame because I'm going to get some kick. Okay, the next thing I do is just some swings and snatches with the 16s. I say 16s, they're just the lightest bells I've got, so that's what I use. To be honest, if I had 12 or 12, I'd probably use that. And that's just 30 seconds in each arm just to get into the groove a bit. every session, whether it's mostly jerk or snatch. I sometimes also add on some single arm jerks. And the last thing I do is just a bit of tissue release on my triceps, because they tend to get quite tight. So let's move the camera. There you go. And if I don't release them, what will happen is when I'm in the lockout, I can't actually straighten my arm. So what I have is a bent stance. I don't actually feel it, but it doesn't look that great, and it's not great for stability. So one way that I like to do is just to get down near the bar, put the hand on the tricep on it, just put pressure. It's not particularly comfortable, but it really does help. Just roll up until you find, you'll know when you found the spot with this tightness, because it's going to hurt. You just want to extend your arm over it. You don't have to do much, I generally find it, especially if you do this regularly. You're not going to have to do much, just a little bit at the beginning of the session. You can do it over a foam roller, it hurts slightly less. I've left my foam roller inside, and I can't really be bothered to go get it. And to be honest, the narrower diameter of the barber probably means that you actually get to the points a little better. But anyway, that's my warm-up work, so I hope you find that helpful. And if you reckon I'm doing anything wrong, please tell me, because the chances are I am, and I'd really like to know. Thanks.